This is from a person from OneUp.com's podcast that actually went to the show in Seattle that Microsoft held, where they said downgrade the experience, since he claims that I'm biased and simple-minded. Listen.
Actually, what's more interesting was we ran a story last week talking about this whole hard drive issue with the 360 and how Microsoft seems to be very much on the fast track to saying that yes, like games can require it, and they confirmed what we already pretty much knew, was that MMOs can require it. Like what's weird about how they approached it is like the requirements they're putting in. There are two things, and this is very confusing, and I'm not sure I even have it straight, and if I don't have it straight, like I don't know how these developers are going to go on implementing it. But the first thing is, on the box has to be what the hard drive is going to, like there has to be a size on the box. Like on the MMO, World of Warcraft or whatever, or like Call of Duty 4, which looks like it might be requiring the hard drive, it has to say you are going to need 2 gigs of space to install it, even if the game doesn't actually install 2 gigs of space. So like I guess what they're saying is, yeah, you have to plan for like patches and stuff like that, and it has to be all inclusive. And like the game will take up 2 gigs of space, even though it's not emitting; it's just blank.
Yeah.
But what's weirder about that is that Microsoft was talking about, well, there are going to be times when that space does change. Like if you buy the game 2 years later, maybe that initial download is different than what's on the box, but what's on store shelves says 4 gigs, but you really need to download 6 gigs. Right. It gets more confusing. So their solution to this is that technically the games have to require it be 4 gigs. So it has to fit in 4 gigs, even if what you're supposed to download is 6 gigs. So their recommendation, if you want to keep the 4 gigs and you only want to use the 4 gigs on your hard drive, you have to downscale the game.
What?
Like graphics.
So now they're telling developers, we don't really want your game to be as big as it is could be. Don't put your full effort into it. Just rip some shit out.
Well, they said from like going forward with MMOs, you should plan to have a downscaling feature in there. And
going forward with hardware, you should plan to be up to date with the latest technology. Frickin' retards.
One of the slides, this is directly their wording from the slide, and actually they kept calling it degrading. Like, you should degrade the experience. And instead of like, I was like, what the fuck are you, like, did anyone, like, filter your speech? Like, why don't you just say scale? Like, that doesn't sound so bad. But he used the word 5 or 6 times, degrade the experience for the user. And directly from the presentation was, degrade the experience with low-res models and textures.
Oh, excellent. Awesome.
Degrade could be replaced with fuck.
Yes.
Place certain areas off limits.
Excellent. Fantastic.
Stream assets from the server, creating slower loading.
That's awesome.
So these were suggestions on how to make your game smaller initially, not on how to make a game run on a core system without a hard drive.
No.
And the implication is this game will not run on a core system.
Yeah, they said that right now, subscription-based MMOs are the only games that will be allowed to do this.
Here you go.
So not GTA.
How do you know? Who knows? We could see GTA reclassified as a subscription-based MMO. But you buy a subscription when you buy the box.
Well, and what was interesting was someone brought up, like, well, what about...
Wait, so if they've already eliminated...
Now, I don't know if you guys have ears and heard what I just heard, but basically, like I stated in the live podcast that I did on Wednesday, August the 22nd, I stated, and you guys just heard it. Like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I have no reason to lie. I have no reason to be biased. I state facts. Ladies and gentlemen, don't question me when it comes to stuff like this. This is what I do. Check the blog, check YouTube, check the podcast numbers, check. This is what I do. This is not a joke. This is what I do. When I say something, I know what the f*** I'm talking about. Excuse me. I gotta calm down real quick, because when people question me and they think they know, they don't know. When people talking about, oh yeah, he's not official, listen, it doesn't matter if I'm official or not. The information I'm giving you about, the information that I give you is official. Like you just heard in the One Up podcast, hopefully that's more official for you guys. Like you just heard in the One Up podcast, they just stated that Microsoft said to downgrade the experience because they don't know how many core systems are out in the market. So they're asking developers, not only because of a lack of a hard drive, but the lack of disk space on a disk. And you guys just heard them say this could possibly be an issue with Grand Theft Auto. And if you listen closely, they also said this could be an issue with Call of Duty 4. So, for all my 360 fans out there who have a 360, this shit has got more confusing than ever. So not only if somebody, say if a parent is to want to purchase a 360 for somebody, there's so many to choose from, you don't know which one to pick. It's good to, don't get me wrong, it's good to give people choices, but when your choices get confusing, that's when it gets bad. That's when it starts going downhill. So now, games are going to start requiring hard drive space, which Sony already knew. That's why they placed a hard drive in every one of their systems. So see, if you have a PlayStation 3, you won't have this problem. But if you have a 360, now they're going to start showing you on the box how much hard drive is going to take for its initial, how many gigabytes it's going to take for its initial download. Which meaning, I just, like I said, I don't hate on the 360. I just state facts. Ladies and gentlemen, that's what I just did. That's what I did on my live podcast, and then this guy said I was being simple-minded and biased towards the 360. How? You guys just heard it first. You guys heard it from a guy that went to the conference. They told the developers to downgrade the experience.